Shot session.
Okay.
Right? So think about it. If I take a loan out of my own policy for, let's say, 4%, but I'm still building interest on that money, like if the money was never taken out.
I see. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Versus if I go to a bank, they're going to charge me whatever percent that loan is going to be, right? And they factor in your credit. They factor in your assets.
Right.
You don't have to do that with a policy, right?
Yeah.
Because it's just going to be whatever money you have growth in there.
Accumulate, yeah.
For sure. And now I can do what I do, make my profits, and then put it in there. Right back in there. Yeah, I'm just paying myself back, right?
And that's the universal?
So that can be really any permanent plan.
Permanent,
yeah, so there's whole life, there's universal life, there's index universal life, and there's variable life.
Okay.
Right? So variable life is not one I dabble in.
So
well, I could tell you what it is, but I don't, because you need a securities license, so that's an investment license. It's very different.
Right.
So variable life is actually money that when you make that contribution, a portion goes to the cost of your insurance, right? That's basically covering that large death benefit.
Right, okay.
And then the other portion goes into building your accumulation that's actually invested in the stocks. So this is actually, so you can lose, right? Money. But you got to have an investment to do that. So I talked about it. That's not my world. Hit me up maybe in a year. But right now, that's not my world, right? The index universal life is really cool because it will grow some of the gains of the market based on how the market's performing. But you also have a zero floor. And sometimes they might have a 1% floor, meaning, let's say the market drops. I know everyone's seen it maybe on TV, at least in this time point of March of 2025, that they haven't been doing well, right? And so within the structures of our plans, it's just either zero floor or some growth, really depending. So it's really nice because I do have some people that are like, I want some of the gains of the market, but I don't like that I can lose.
You're right.
You know what I mean? Like,
iffy on it.
Yeah, it's iffy, right? And so again, you want to be diverse. And so this allows you the diversification to say you're growing accumulation, and that accumulation could be anywhere from 6% to 12%. And it seems like a big range, but it really just depends on the type of company that you're utilizing for that type of structure.
Okay.
Some companies will give you, higher interest rates, but it really depends. But like if you look at past performances, they've gone anywhere between 8 to 12%. That's what it looks like. But you don't have to worry about the loss, right? So if you gain that $1,000, you know it's going to be in there, right? You might not see it, you might not see the growth because it's zero,
right? But
you're not losing. And then they, like I said, they usually have caps. So if like the market does like say 20, but your cap is 12, you're going to get 12.
Okay.
But again, the exchanges, if that market drops to, negative 15, I get 0.
I'm so sorry.
No, you're good.
It ain't like this sometimes.
No, you're good.
Sorry, could you help me out on the camera? Make sure it turns
Did it close?
Yeah, I think it closed, or am I tripping? But it's going to be, we almost out of here.
No, we're good.
We almost out of here. Let's see.
Is it dead?
Oh, I think it's still good. But it shut down on us real quick. See if it's still going. It's all going to be on there.
I had a hair check real
Adjust
quick.
real quick.
Oh my gosh, my hair's real big. I left the curlers in
Got
there
the
too.
line made. It look nice. It
Oh
look
my
nice.
God. Eric was like, "Oh, where you going?"
Hey.
He's like, "You need a bodyguard." I was like, "Nah, I don't need a bodyguard."
I was going to say, bring the family. Come on, we making a family event.
Oh my gosh. Ready?
Mm-hmm. You got it going back already, so we was already.
I know.
We're going to check out, move on to a little something.
Yes.
I know I was looking into the no exam, if I'm correct,
Yeah.
insurance.
Yeah.
So is it like you just pay a little bit extra because you're not taking an exam?
Yeah.
Because.
For sure. So sometimes we call that like a simplified issue or an accelerated, where they will not require you to do a medical, which basically is like a nurse coming, checking your height, weight, blood pressure, or blood work, which is the nurse would come to your house to do blood work and stuff. It's purely based on what comes up in your medical history.
Okay.
Right? So they'll always do that. It's not like, well, let me take that back. There are some plans called guaranteed issue where they will not look at your medical at all.
Okay. No, you're good. I heard a click over there.
Yeah, I heard a click too.
You know what I mean? We try to get focused on here. There's no guidance.
I was like,
I think we could.
There's no guidance.
Where's our engineer? What's going on here? We need cameramen.
Basketball tips back here.
He getting them with the shot. We got all that. Oh my goodness. We keeping it in too. Y'all see these mics. These mics ain't even plugged in, but we over here. We doing serious things out here, so stop playing with me tonight with the show from Chop, man. You know what I mean?
Oh my goodness.
Yes. He's going left on the right tip, so we gonna do that. Right? So, man, he's so loud.
Hello. This
thing on? I think so. But yeah.
So there are some where, so that's right? So in order to not have that exam, you are going to pay a little bit more. And I do have some individuals that don't mind that, right? I work with some people who are truck drivers and they're on the road. So when they're home, they don't want a nurse come. They're just like, hey, I know I'm good, just check my medical records. And it's for the most part, you can find out same day if you're approved or not, which is also nice for someone that doesn't want the waiting period, because there can be a wait for more traditional, what we call underwriting, where you fill out the app, you submit the app, then someone gets it, they have to pull what's called the medical information bureau report, and that report gives anything you've done in the last 10 years.
Oh, okay.
So be very honest. That's why I tell people, like, even just because you don't take it, if it prescribed it, it's in the record and they're gonna ask.
Oh, okay. Because there's a lot of prescriptions they gave me throughout my life, and I was like, I'll just take it, but it's on record
sometimes
already.
Sometimes, I see a lot with like pain meds. Maybe that's surgery.
I didn't want to get into the addiction part of it, but you need it sometimes. Don't get me wrong.
Not for sure, but some people know their body, and they're like, my husband hurt his back at work. And he had surgery, and they gave him like the heavy stuff. He refused to take it. And because he just doesn't like medicine.
Okay. Yeah.
But because he took it,
they shows that.
I mean, even though he did not, even if you don't feel it, like it's still shown in
that they prescribed
it. If you had, let's say, a diagnosis, like I see this a lot with people who are diabetic, right? Maybe they got diagnosed with diabetes, but they've been able to control their blood sugar, with diet and exercise, but never took the medication.
Right.
Even though their numbers are normal, they still have diabetes on the record in 3 years. You have to, I always tell people, just be honest. Like, yes, this was what I was,
you're going to find out regardless.
They're going to find out regardless.
Like I could pull one over.
And if they don't, I always tell people this too. When you get approved for coverage, unless it's something called a guaranteed issue, which I can talk about, it's same day. Right. However, the insurance company does have what's called a 2-year contestability period.
Right.
Which means, let's say, and I use this one because it's probably the easiest one. Let's say you say you don't smoke, and you do.
Right.
And then a year later, something happens with your lungs, or you pass away. Something, right?
It'll show. And you don't get that, Lou? Is that what we're leading to?
That's what we're leading to. So they have 2 years to do contestability, which means if you either pass away in that period, or they can still get medical records up till 2 years after. Because sometimes doctors are a little slower to chart things.
Okay.
Things come up de nuevo, things that come up new.
Right.
They can because you basically
stop playing. I'm thinking, because there's always a geezer you could try to come up on somebody.
For
and
sure.
Be like, let's see how not to
Especially
get
with
this,
the
you know
smoking,
what I mean?
if it's something like where you're not getting any medical and blood work, because through blood work they can tell your nicotine levels for sure.
Right.
But let's say you didn't and you slipped it through.
Yeah, and don't put it on
and
there.
Then and something happens, then people like me, I gotta tell your family, he's smoking. So what they will do is they will give you all of the premiums you paid back. That's
decent.
At least you get something.
Right.
But let's say after the 2 years, don't matter. Well, no, it doesn't matter. Even if you did lie, you have to pay it out.
So
they only have 2 years to find out.
That's the loophole right there. I ain't saying to do it, y'all. You know what I mean?
I'm not saying to do it either. I'm saying be.
Because as long as we got the audio going, that's what we're really pushing for. We want the visuals, to be honest. Next time, I want you to come on the It's a Shot Session with the podcast.
Okay.
I'll have a camera.